It's Yash. This is a good title here. This is a good one. I feel like I'm losing my mind. I don't know why I didn't make that before. So now I got smart. Instead of writing all these questions down on paper, I got another phone. So now the questions are in my phone, so I can just read it like this. All right, this is from Tree Monster 222. The night before last, I was watching a movie. This happened to me before. And then I began to notice this floaty feeling. I wasn't doing drugs or nothing. When I looked around the room, everything seemed calm, fascinating. This continued, but then panic set in, and was thinking I'm misinterpreting this. Right, the mind, who knows what the mind said? You didn't say it, but yeah. And so then he ended up calling an ambulance. You see what the mind, I don't know, the mind's pretty cool when you're at a certain point. Like you can appreciate, like it's a badass on some level. It's a hell of a antagonist. Like God did a good job creating the mind, or the devil's God's agent. Like it's like Born Identity or any of these good. I always like CIA movies. I think previous lives and scars. Maybe I used to do something like that, but they always have a really good, the hero always has to fight somebody really, really good, like you're like, oh no, who's gonna win? So this is what's happening. The consciousness, the localized consciousness, has this mind to contend with, and the mind keeps manipulating it and tricking it. So mind got him to call an ambulance. The adrenaline was going, yeah, because the panic, you're in stress, so the body creates cortisone, and this is how some people can even go into a psychosis, And I'm not making fun. I'm making fun of the mind. I'm not making fun of you. Your consciousness. So understand that. So the adrenaline was going, and this wasn't ideal for calming myself back down. Yeah, I know. It's like post-acute withdrawal syndrome. Some people, they can die if they try to quit heroin or alcohol, even tobacco. You can the cortisone levels crank up so bad, you get so stressed, and then you stop sleeping, and then you can't even eat. It's like you're living off of steroids, your own body's steroids. So, you go like that for a week, no sleeping, no eating, stress. It just starts to accumulate. You just keep spiraling down. The less you sleep, the more stress. The less you eat, the more stress. The more stress, the less you sleep. The less you eat. You see what I mean? So sometimes you do need to go to the hospital. I understand. But eventually I began to calm down in the ambulance with some advice I got. The breathing slower. I guess the guy told them, or girl told them, to breathe slower. Yeah, we just need somebody we need another human being to ground us when we get in these states. I mean, it's like we can't hear. We just need somebody. We need to be grounded. And this is the benefit when people do plant medicine too. You should do it at least the first few times until you feel comfortable, until you feel you have a relationship with the medicine. Do it in a ceremonial setting. So it gives you some kind of confidence, and it grounds you, because if you have a problem, you can go to somebody, they can help you. Because when you're alone, that's how you can have a bad trip. Because then the mind just makes it worse and worse. Some of you have left comments, and yeah, you've had bad trips. I never had one. They suck, I assume. So I properly began to consider, after we started breathing slowly, that this is something okay. I got to the hospital, was waiting in a hall in a wheelchair, and other patients in this perception alteration, which I feel is the best way to put it, it was still intensifying. Brief panics would come and go until no more. And I was just looking at the other people or anything in the hallway, totally amazed by it. All for no apparent reason. I was fully aware. I came out of it gradually, not sure if it's left any lasting effect on my state of mind. But anyway, I just wanted to share this. That's what he said. I got one more that has to do with this topic too. See, this is part of the deal. This changing over, you can say, as consciousness starts to become more aware of itself, it can happen in a more subtle, gradual way, or we can get a blast. It's like some boulders got dissolved that was seemingly separated, like making the consciousness hard to be self-aware. It's like there's some big rocks, and then maybe grace dissolves one of them, and then it's like, whoa, I'm in another state. Uh-oh. And then the mind, oh, this is a dangerous state, man. Like, so that whole game starts, and then you can panic. I watched a movie too once. I was, it was about karma. And it was just tripping me out, I was just, I don't know, the universe prescribed that movie at that right moment because it was going to use it as some kickstart, some catalyst to kind of encourage this process that was already happening. And so it gave me a movie because it was also, the universe is also working on the level of where we're at as a human being. You see, I couldn't read a scripture at that time. I just wanted to watch a movie. So the universe is like, okay, that's cool. We're going to use that movie then to do our higher work. The universe can use anything. And so I can relate. I got another experience too that happened, but I might share that after the next message. So you're all good, man. Look, this is another thing. When you experience these, you can say, intense shifts in consciousness, don't let the mind say, I'm supposed to be like this forever now. It doesn't work like that. There's no state that lasts forever. It may wax and wane, like you could even get worse. This is a funny thing. That blast could wake up some dormant karma, okay, that was in the subconscious mind. All of a sudden maybe you start yelling at people, or if somebody cuts you off, you get angry, whereas before you wouldn't. For example, it could be all kinds of things. And you're like, whoa, wait a minute. Like, I just had a major spiritual experience, but now it's like, how the hell, like I'm doing a 180. Like I'm getting mad like I was a kid. I'm throwing tantrums. That's also part of the process. That's why we need to hear this. You'll figure it out at some point on your own anyway, but it helps to hear this so that then we need to expose the tricks and tactics that the mind uses, so that then when it happens, when the mind plays that card, we're already onto it. Mind has a lot of cards, but we can expose them little by little. So don't judge your state now because of that. That's the thing. See, we'll have a state, a big shift, and then we'll start comparing our present state with that. I mentioned before, I think in a video, this guy I was working with, he had a near-death experience, and he started to compare, after that passed, his present state with that all the time, and the mind was judging and saying, you're not feeling the level of peace you felt when you had a near-death experience. Well, of course not. You didn't have a physical body at that point. You were traveling. That's a whole different experience. You're in a different dimension. You can't compare these things. And the same thing with this experience you had. You don't try to repeat that and then say, oh no, I didn't repeat it, so I must have lost my awakening. Don't do that. I'm not saying you do, but I'm just saying. This is from Emerx. Hey Yash, I'd like to ask you a question about self-observation. When you separate yourself from your mind, then there's a very strange feeling of detachment from everything. You're no longer really feeling anything because you're looking at it like it's not you. You're not feeling anything. No, you're still feeling. You see, the mind, you had some space, you had some detachment, natural, organic detachment that happened, but then your mind came in and started judging it and saying, your mind started judging it, and you lost the full spectrum experience that consciousness has when it's not being plagued by mind. See, mind can come in, and if we give some attention to it, it can talk, or it can just stop everything. It's like we're in some kind of stupor. It's subtle. You got to be able to sense it. But it's not that when you separate yourself from your mind. Just I want to clarify, when you separate yourself, Okay, you're talking about consciousness, just pure consciousness. That which is here when you first wake up in the morning, that half second, that's consciousness. Or when you die, when the body dies, that's consciousness. So you're saying, like, when you separate, when the consciousness separates from the mind, there's a strange feeling of detachment, and you're no longer really feeling anything because you are looking at it like it's not you. No, but it is you. The essence is you. The form, yeah, you realize finally your perception and realization is becoming more subtle. It's not stuck on such a level of form. So then on that level, you're detached. But on deeper level, you're unified. You see the essence. So just more subtle. We just keep getting more subtle. It raises an inner conflict. In psychology, this is called depersonalization. But is it a normal thing, or am I observing myself in the wrong way? You're observing your observation's good that you had this experience, but your mind is interpreting the observation. That's all. But that has to happen. That has to happen. There's no way to buck this evolutionary journey that we're all have to experience. You know, there's different stages. You can't like skip stages. So it's cool. It's good. And then he wrote again and said, because I wrote him. I don't remember what I said. So when you feel like you are not yourself and thus completely detached from any feelings, even happiness, joy, and peace, is it just another thought? Is it just another thought when you feel like you're not yourself and you're detached from any feelings, even happiness, joy, and peace? Well, you tell me, is it a thought? Is it the mind commenting? Or is it a realization, a deeper seeing? Because the fact of the matter is, see, the way you say completely detached from any feelings, that has mind in it. The mind can do that. It can just, you just turn, you're just numb. But it's subconscious when it does that. You're not like responsible. That has to happen for a little bit. That's how the mind is dissolving. Like it's you're detoxing these deep habits of the mind, and it can look like that. The symptoms of this detox can look like what you're describing here. Detached from even happiness, joy, and peace. Yeah, because we're still not that. That joy and peace and happiness is still a state that's going to pass, or at least it's going to change in its intensity or its duration. It's the fragrance of when our consciousness is self-aware. That's like part of the game. You see, that's like the reward. When we become more self-aware, we're naturally just more light, less selfish, more content. There's peace, there's joy, all that. But you still know it's not you because you're there to see it. That's self-inquiry stuff. So, you're asking, is that another thought? Yeah, the mind's in there a little bit. It's okay. It is because when I started to search about depersonalization, don't check that into that's another level. That's medical terms. They don't know about what we're discussing here. So, yeah, careful. I understood that it's widely spread. It turns out a lot of people face this when they start spiritually. What you're facing, yeah, this is true. This is why I say it's normal. But the problem is that when they have this depersonalization, instead of being at peace, they're broken, split, and depressed. What do you think is the difference between depersonalization, when people even end up with suicide because of this, and awakening, when people feel liberated? Let me know if you want me to make a video on depersonalization versus spirituality, and depending on how many comments I get, I'll make the video. But it also depends on, like, what did we do? Did we do some kind of drug? Did we do some kind of something that, wow, the sun's coming up. Did we do something that, excessively stimulated this process? See, when things happen organically, and see, Kundalini yoga and stuff can do that too. or this energy work that some people get obsessed with. You know, I gotta wake the energy up, and you can get into trouble. So that could cause what they're talking about, where you just feel split and broken because it come on too fast. It didn't really happen in an organic way. And then yeah, they could end up suiciding out because the mind just amplifies the hell out of this panic, and we're susceptible to all these thoughts, these negative thoughts when we're in that state because we're super sensitive, and it's like the mind has full reign now, and we just believe everything it says. That's the problem with bad trips. It's a similar thing. Let me know how you like this video. All right.